can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Welcome to Sports This Week, where we take you back to all the top stories from the week that was. We have to start with PSL, who hit many roadblocks in their attempt to bringing back the tournament after suspension. The biggest setback was listening to foreign players swearing they would never go back to Pakistan to play cricket again. For India, the biggest news was Virat Kohli announcing his retirement from Test cricket. Was he forced out, or was this the right call at the right time? Which makes us look at the future now, with both Virat and Rohit stepping aside from Test cricket. Who will take charge as captain of the Test format? Though Shubman Gill looks to be the apt choice, critics have debunked that. Speaking of superstars, the week also saw Pakistan spearhead at one point Shahid Afridi getting severe backlash for the victory rally he conducted in Karachi. What were the ramifications of that distasteful act? And rounding it off with news from football, Barcelona came a full circle from being in shambles, resulting in Javi's exit, to now winning the LaLiga. Who were the chief architects of that splendid win? All of that heading your way. India and Pakistan agreed to a ceasefire over the weekend to de-escalate the situation in South Asia, but the peace lasted just some moments. Pakistan violated it by launching drones into the Indian airspace. India, being the more measured nation here, only defended the attacks. Just goes on to show who is the aggressor and who is seeking peace in this whole fight against terrorism. And what's also followed this has been a reality check for Pakistan cricket too, because when the Pakistan Super League, or the PSL, was halted owing to cross-border tensions, the PCB chief and the Interior Minister of Pakistan, Mohsin Naqvi, made tall claims. He blamed India for imposing war in the nation and said it was the safety of the international players playing in the PSL that was PCB's primary concern.
The extremely irresponsible and dangerous act by India, deliberately targeting the Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium, was clearly aimed at disrupting the ongoing PSL. In the light of this threat, the board has decided to shift the remaining matches to the UAE to ensure the safety of our domestic and international players, who are our valued guests.
But the truth is, they put the very same international players' safety and security in jeopardy. Media reports claim 4 Australian cricketers, Sean Abbott, Ben Dwarshuis, Ashton Turner and Mitch Owen, had a particularly close call before they left for home. The PCB organised a chartered flight for these players from the airport that is close to Pakistan's military base. So much for ensuring the safety of international players.
After landing in Dubai, when we heard that a missile struck the airport 20 minutes after we took off from the airport, the news was scary as well as sorrowful. And now after reaching Dubai, we are feeling relieved.
And to think that Pakistan was vehement about the PSL continuing, no matter the situation at hand, no matter the close shaves and security concerns, they were determined to resume despite one game being called off, the one in Rawalpindi on the 8th of May. But PSL could not continue in Pakistan. They couldn't afford that, no matter how bullish they would seem. They announced UAE as the alternate venue, the venue for the remainder of the fixtures for this edition, right up to the final. That was originally scheduled to take place on the 18th of May. But sense prevailed eventually when they finally decided to suspend the tournament altogether, and that came a couple of days ago. Needless to say, this growing uncertainty in Pakistan yet again has rattled many of the cricketers who've been involved in the league. New Zealand all-rounder Daryl Mitchell has vowed never to return to Pakistan to play cricket again. England player Tom Curran was struck with fear, said to have been caught, and I quote, crying like a baby. The reluctance of foreign players to come back to Pakistan to play cricket was only confirmed by Lahore Qalandar player Rishad Hossain, who is a foreign cricketer himself from Bangladesh.
Foreign players like Sam Billings, Daryl Mitchell, Kushal Pereira, David Weezer, Tom Curran, all of them were so frightened. Landing in Dubai, Mitchell told me that he would never go to Pakistan again, especially in this kind of scenario. Overall, they were all horrified.
Before the start of the tournament, Pakistan players claimed they could surpass IPL, that they would lure the IPL viewership onto PSL, that PSL would prove their might as a cricketing league by putting out an entertaining brand of cricket this year. Maybe they first need to match the level of meticulous organization and careful consideration that IPL authorities and the BCCI have exercised here. Because unlike Pakistan, the Indian Cricket Board put the safety of their players first, Indian and international. Pakistan's decision to halt matches only came when a drone crashed near the Rawalpindi Stadium. This was hours before a crucial PSL game. India, on the other hand, suspended the ongoing match between Delhi and Punjab in Dharamshala owing to warnings in Jammu, an area that is still 386 kilometers away. And it isn't just that. The IPL's first course of action was to suspend the IPL, the league, for a week. No relocation. It is India's league and will only be played here unless there's a situation that was just not in anyone's control, like a pandemic that forced the IPL out of the country just some years ago. The BCCI and the IPL Governing Council first took the most sensible step, that is to temporarily suspend the league before taking any other call. They are still in talks, of course, to ascertain exact dates of the resumption, which will happen soon, pushing for a May finish with minimum fuss and maximum impact. They did this, a systematic process, because security, national concerns, a political dialogue that's underway was more important than a cricket league. This also gave enough time for all the international players to return home. The way PSL was handled despite tensions in the country, a situation they can only blame themselves for, and the people in power for them, has once again put Pakistan's credibility as a cricketing host for international events on the back burner. Because if players are vowing never to return to Pakistan, will their respective boards do otherwise? New Zealand's Daryl Mitchell swore he would never come back to Pakistan, a cricketer whose country actually did their bit in ensuring cricket in Pakistan never halted. New Zealand has been one of the cricketing countries that have regularly toured Pakistan, including a series last year, a bilateral, and a tri-series earlier this year before the Champions Trophy. They did that despite matches getting washed off, poor stadium facilities, and improper lighting systems, even injuring one of their own. But there's, after all, just that much that anyone can take. All cricket boards will have to put the concerns of their own players first. Clearly, Pakistan has failed again, not just in ensuring safety to all of the cricketers who were involved in their league, but also in providing cricket to their own people. Sure, they will continue to issue bizarre statements blaming India for it all, but what they really need to do is ask themselves, were they a good host? The fact that they aren't good neighbors has been well documented and re-emphasized thanks to the events of the last few days, but the least they could be is a good cricket host. But that too is now back to level zero. The fervour over Virat Kohli's test retirement refuses to die down. The cricket world reacted when India's greatest test captain called it quits yesterday. Emotions are high among fans, players, former cricketers, pretty much everyone associated with cricket. But the suspense still lingers. Why now? Why before an all-important England series? And why without a fitting farewell? All leading to one question: was Kohli pushed into taking this decision? Now, the sporting fraternity went into a bit of a meltdown. Cricket legends, former players, tennis ace as well, Novak Djokovic, all poured in to reflect on Kohli's big announcement. All of this just shows you the kind of impact Kohli has had on the sporting world itself. Kohli was the brand ambassador of cricket, and nothing proves this better than what former Aussie cricketer Greg Chappell had to say. Chappell said he was the most Australian non-Australian ever. Kohli's reignited India's passion when it's come to giving it back to the Aussies and in their own backyard. We've seen so many instances of that happening over the many years. That no matter what, he would do everything to win, to cross the line. So with such a legacy, why did Virat Kohli decide to hang up his boots in this format without taking the field for one more time?
I'm surprised with the decision of Virat Kohli to retire, especially because the big England tour is coming up in June. I think he should have played against England. It's a 5-match test series in their backyard. A big series. He could have played the entire series and then called it a day.
Like I've said, his recent form in Test cricket could have been one of the reasons. He struggled in Australia, and a Border Gavaskar Trophy loss is never easy to just gloss over. A loss to Australia, and in the manner that India went down in, always results in casualties. But the larger question is, have records or numbers even been the true yardstick of measuring Kohli's greatness or his contribution to Indian cricket? The former India captain had always been one innings away or one innings shy from always finding his rhythm again. During his 14-year-long Test career, he had his fair share of slumps. But he almost always turned the corner, punching to deliver. And at 36, Kohli is still one of the fittest in the Indian setup. He could bat for long hours, practice endlessly, and had incredibly sound work ethics, which is why many felt he still had a lot of cricket left in him. Now, what we are hearing, though, is that even Kohli hadn't given up on playing the England series. His biggest support system, his childhood mentor and coach of his domestic side, Delhi, all claim Kohli was looking forward to the England series.
ये उसका ऐसा डिसीजन है जिससे सभी देशवासी थोड़े मैं कहूँगा इमोशनल हैं कि उन्हें वो और खेल सकते थे, तो यही उस प्लेयर की ग्रेटनेस मैं कहूँगा कि उसने उस मुकाम पर छोड़ा है जबकि सब लोग बोलते हैं कि आप और खेल सकते थे।
कोहली को कोई ऐसी दो राय नहीं थी कि खेले नहीं खेले, डेफिनेटली वन ऑफ द मेन प्लेयर्स है, तो उनको वहां जाके खेलना ही था और ज्यादा अच्छी तैयारी भी करके रखे हुए थे कि इस बार इंग्लैंड में ज्यादा बेहतरीन परफॉर्मेंस भी कर रही है, क्योंकि वही एक मेन खिलाड़ी में लग रहा था, क्योंकि ऑस्ट्रेलिया में उन्होंने 100 बनाया था, बाकी बल्लेबाजी उतनी चल नहीं रही थी, तो विराट के ऊपर हमेशा कभी ना कभी थोड़ा प्रेशर ज्यादा रहता ही है, तो और वो पूरी तरह मेंटली प्रिपेयर था। पर सरप्राइजिंगली एक न्यूज हमें पता चली, थोड़ी शॉकिंग जरूर थी कि सडनली ऐसे रिटायरमेंट ली, क्योंकि जितना बड़ा वो खिलाड़ी है तो एक वेल सेंड ऑफ जरूर होना चाहिए।
These statements just show that up until 4 months ago, when Kohli played that Ranji game between Delhi and Railways in the capital city here, he had everything planned out. So what really changed in these 4 months? Well, many reports suggest that Kohli wasn't too happy with BCCI's new diktat, the one that they issued post the Australia series, and one of which involved restricting families of the cricketers from travelling with the squad on tours.
The role of the family is very difficult to explain to people. I don't want to go to my room and just sit alone and sulk. I want to be able to be normal.
So did this contribute to his decision making? That he knew he had given enough and more to Indian cricket, that the silent mental battles that he had endured all these years were far more bruising than the physical ones? Knowing Kohli, having covered his cricket and having interviewed him and watched him grow all these years, one thing was certain. The hunger to keep performing, it just never died down. To keep winning was always there. He's the sort of athlete who gave 150% even if he was at a 20. Reason why he pushed for that extra single, that extra boundary in an over, celebrated every wicket like it was his last, was involved in the field with his teammates even when he was not the captain. So it is rather tough to say he thought he was done, when he was ready to go back to the grind. But then again, maybe the best know when it is time to actually leave the grand stage and probably leave it to the next generation to figure out, probably fumble, but figure out and take over and build another story just as strong for Indian cricket next. IPL is set to resume in less than 2 days, and while the excitement is building for cricket's premier tournament, there are concerns over the next chapter of Indian cricket, because following the retirement of two stalwarts, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, India's men's squad is headed for a major rejig. The biggest question, of course, is who will lead the Indian men's cricket team. Jasprit Bumrah had always stepped into that role, especially in the longest format in the past, leading many to believe that he would eventually take over the reins. But what we're hearing is that Shubman Gill is the front runner. But it's an idea that hasn't gone down too well in the Indian cricketing fraternity.
He is not even a certainty in Test cricket. The captaincy should be given to Jasprit Bumrah, and if he is not fit or available for any match, then KL Rahul or Rishabh Pant should lead India.
It's not easy being a fast bowler. He's had injuries. He was on a break after the Australia series and is only returning in this IPL. But I'd still go with Bumrah. Whenever he's not there, the vice captain comes in and takes over.
I am shocked that we are looking at any other option other than Bumrah as Test captain. Worried about his injuries? Then choose your vice captain carefully.
Many commentators clearly believe Bumrah has to be the Test captain. There are no two ways about it. He's the senior-most member in that Indian setup currently and a tested captain too. He took charge of India and led them to their sole win in that Border Gavaskar trophy last year against Australia in Perth. So where's the concern really? It's the workload management. The long, arduous spells in Australia saw its impact. That took out Bumrah for the crucial Champions Trophy that came up afterwards. Yes, even though India managed to win the ICC events, the larger question still is, does India want a repeat of that? So safeguarding Bumrah becomes critical as he's an all-format bowler, one of the best in the world and India's lead pacer. And when you think of captaincy, you have to be a permanent fixture in that Indian lineup, no matter the opposition, no matter the conditions. Which is the reason why we looked at the other possible candidates, Shubman Gill, Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul. Rishabh Pant has fought a career-threatening exit from this sport itself and has proved to be a feisty character on the field, again an all-format player, but can he handle the pressures that come with captaincy? And does he have the maturity just yet that comes with helming such a huge responsibility? His stint with the Lucknow franchise doesn't really back him up here in this regard. KL Rahul would absolutely fit the bill. But again, working with someone like Gautam Gambhir as head coach only means the captain has to have a certain kind of temperament. Does KL Rahul have it in him to be that foil for Gambhir? And more importantly, does he want that captaincy role here in tests? Which is why the answer has to be Shubman Gill. He's definitely talented, an all-format player again, who if groomed and guided rightly can develop into a very solid, mature leader in those ranks, and someone whom Gambhir will be able to work alongside, especially after Gill's stint with Gujarat as skipper. You cannot look past the obvious. The franchise is top of the table currently and are one of the favourites in the tournament, and he hasn't just led them as a captain, he has performed as a batter. But the question is, can he do it in the longest format of the game for India, especially when his away form in Test cricket has been a bit of a concern.
I love watching him play. When you're watching him bat and bat well, he looks as good as anyone in world cricket. But the numbers don't really stack up, do they, away from home?
While Gill played most of India's matches last year, he has been found wanting when it comes to his performances, especially outside India. In his, of course, early young career, Gill has played 6 matches in Australia. That's just around 350 runs with an average of 35. 250s, but no big conversion there. The record gets worse when he travels to England, just 88 runs at an average of 14. In South Africa too, 74 runs at an average of 18 there. Not much to write home about, and he's yet to play in New Zealand. Again, very testing conditions that too. Which is why cricket voices strongly feel that if Gill is not a guaranteed starter, if his performances with the bat individually don't back him, how can he be the captain? Captains lead from the front. Virat Kohli did that majorly when he was in charge. Rohit Sharma did that too. That's what the best in the business do. And of course, when Rohit stopped doing that, he rested himself in that Border Gavaskar series. And stepped Bumrah, who also did the same when he was in Australia.
My first option for captaincy is Jasprit Bumrah. In England, firstly, it is cold there. It is not like Australia, where you will sweat and have cramps. His energy will be reserved. There will be relentless pressure like it used to be with West Indies. There will be no weight on his back. He will lead by example.
But what's the long-term solution? Bumrah captains when he plays and the vice-captain, probably Gill, steps in during his absence? Would that really work? It's for the think tank to ultimately decide if it does. Cricket as a sport has evolved. Gone are the days when only one captain had to be there for all formats across the different formats of the game. As the game and the formats also have really changed, so have the rules. Split captaincy also came up about. And leadership isn't just about wearing that captain's badge. It's about taking charge and bringing everyone together, working towards one vision and one goal. So while there is a very tough decision that lies ahead with the selection committee there and the Indian Cricket Board, there's opportunity, because whatever call they take, it will be a brave one that will have its fair share of challenges and hurdles, and ones that the new and young Indian setup will have to scale to try to achieve even greater heights and take Indian cricket forward. The year was 1996 and a 19-year-old all-rounder from Pakistan had only one wish: to represent his national side at the biggest stage. The teenager did fulfill that ambition and continued to be the face of his side, his country, for almost 2 long decades. But his recent actions seem to bring the former Pakistan captain crashing down from the highs that cricket took him to. The player we are of course talking about is Shahid Afridi, a player who clearly seems to have forgotten what sport taught him. Sport is about team building, playing in the spirit of the game, being a strong and supportive leader. Afridi's actions off the cricket field seem to denote anything but that. India's Operation Sindoor, targeting terror bases in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, was a massive success as it put Pakistan on the back foot. It led to Pakistan's military approaching India for a ceasefire, and Pakistan themselves violating the ceasefire just moments later. Their bubble of playing the victim card burst on the world stage, but the bubble of their mindset of feeling superior hasn't quite yet. And that includes their cricketer, whose ambitions clearly lie elsewhere now, Shahid Afridi. After de-escalation, Shahid Afridi was busy doing this on the streets of Karachi. A victory rally for what? The lives that Pakistan ended up losing thanks to their own act of false bravado? Or did Afridi get confused thanks to all the cricket that he's played? You see, here's what an actual victory rally looks like. The entire city and of course a whole country coming to a standstill right then. That is what you call a victory rally. A sporting team, in this case the Indian men's cricket squad, celebrating the T20 World Cup triumph, something Pakistan has tried to win and failed since 2009, and in this particular edition were routed in the group stages itself. Afridi seems to have misplaced his sporting sense here, celebrating Pakistan's perceived success in the recent conflict with India, highlighting why Pakistan as a country continues to be in their own delusional world. Online backlash was swift and fierce, some even branding him a terrorist for glorifying a conflict that has larger and more significant implications. While the internet gave it back to Afridi, I also want to remind the all-rounder of a few things here. The cricketer celebrating this as a victory is in itself rather bizarre. And the intention of glorifying the Pakistan military is the lowest the cricketer could have stooped down to, because while the all-rounder is hailing this a victory, India's Director General of Air Operations was calling it what it was, a war against terrorism.
That our fight was with terrorists and their support infrastructure, and not with Pakistan military. However, it is a pity that the Pakistan military chose to intervene and bat for the terrorist, which compelled us to respond.
This is the difference between a statement from someone who is busy politicking and a military personnel who was actually there down fighting the battle. And this is not the first time Afridi has found himself in a hot mess over his remarks. He started by blaming the Indian Army for the whole Pahalgam attack, getting into a war of words with Indian cricketers right after, even took a jibe while donning Pakistan military's colours. All traits of somebody who wants to establish his presence beyond the cricket field. He was touted to be the next Imran Khan ever since his career as a cricketer came to an end in 2018. And not just because he was an all-rounder, just like the former Pakistan Prime Minister, but because of the adulation he still enjoyed in Pakistan. He was respected for his cricketing achievements, and despite denying any political ambitions in the past, Afridi sure is busy working towards just that.
Doing the work of a politician already by helping people. All parties support me and people support me. I just wish to help people.
What he tried to do with that victory rally was not only praise Pakistan's governance, but also openly displayed his allegiance, that he's backing this regime and their decisions all the way. The sport gave Afridi recognition not just in his country but the world over. Someone who rewrote record books for the brand of cricket that he's always played. Records that are wilting now by the sheer weight of this misplaced victory rally that he conducted, that only succeeding in spreading hate and misinformation. What he needs to understand is that their most decorated cricketer, Imran Khan, first entered politics, then started behaving like a politician. Afridi is forgetting that he has forged relations on the cricket pitch, and his latest actions are only tainting them. Maybe he's forgotten the ambitions of that 19-year-old, a young cricketer who wanted to represent Pakistan, play his heart out and bring joy to his fans, to the people watching him, not resort to spreading hate and false propaganda. The Champions League might not have returned to Barcelona, but the La Liga title definitely has. Their biggest rivals, Real Madrid, tried to be party poopers in Barcelona's title run till the very end, but they failed just like they did in defending their Champions League title. This despite Madrid's star-studded lineup that was competing against a team of youngsters and a few aging stars. This has marked the club coming a full circle, because just a year ago, Barcelona was in shambles. Sure, they finished second in the Spanish league, but the confidence was missing, the ambition to fight against Real Madrid to be the best club in Spain. And the reason why I say this is because their former manager, Javi, said this before his unceremonious exit.
The situation is very complicated to compete economically. It has nothing to do with what we had 25 years ago, when the coach would come and say, I want this one, and this one. It doesn't work like that anymore. We need stability and time.
He talked about the financial challenges, the crisis. He said Barcelona isn't the same as they were. Javi demanded time and more stability to make Barca great again. In fact, this statement led to a minor friction with the management that resulted in him leaving. But just a year later, here we are. The same Barcelona setup has now been crowned La Liga champions. And against a Real Madrid side that had the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., to name a few. To think Javi just a year ago said it would be difficult for this Barcelona side to challenge for trophies, the La Liga win has just become that much more iconic. Those celebrations and the emotions just say it all. So what really changed? Is it the German influence on the Spanish giants? Hansi Flick came with pedigree, of course. The World Cup winner, Champions League winner. But what he proved at Barcelona is a club steeped in legacy doesn't just need $1 million signings. All it needs, front and center, is a heart to represent the badge and players who feel proud of playing for Barcelona. And he found that in all the youngsters, a 17-year-old Lamine Yamal, 18-year-old Pau Cubarsi and 22-year-old Pedri. And he revived some of the other stars too. Experienced players like Robert Lewandowski, Rafinha and Frankie de Jong weren't performing at their best. What Flick did was simply show trust in them, because this is what they lacked under Xavi. He wanted to sign up players, big money players like Real Madrid did. Flick just showed the aging stars that they still had it in them. Now you have Robert Lewandowski back again with 25 goals this season for them. Rafinha chipped in with 18 and Yamal scored 8 in addition to those 15 assists and a massive moral impact on the field. And it isn't just this. They beat Real Madrid in the Copa del Rey final. They put up a brave fight against Inter Milan in a semi-final that saw 13 goals being scored. So even when they were bowing out, they were doing so but with a fight. And according to Flick, the football world hasn't seen the best of Barcelona just yet.
It was a very good level, but I think we have the potential to be even better. With Barca, you have to win titles, and 3 is great. I suffered after the semi-final in Milan, but with 3 titles, I think both the club and the players like me, there's something to be happy about.
The faith Flick has shown now has made financially struggling Barcelona a strong contender everywhere, because when the Ballon d'Or list is out later this year, I'm sure there would be names there. Lewandowski, Rafinha and Lamine Yamal, a good old pattern that Barcelona is known for. One of the biggest clubs in the world, dominating UEFA's biggest competition. This is what Barcelona is known for. About 3 decades ago, Liverpool defender Alan Hansen had said you cannot win anything with kids. The same season, Manchester United under Alex Ferguson went on to win the Premier League and established themselves as the biggest club in England. Barcelona 2025 has done exactly that, proving that when kids are out having fun, silverwares are just the byproduct of it all.
At Firstpost, we are choosing to hold on to accuracy. That means we won't always be first. We may not get you your breaking alert, but what you will get is what we owe you, and that is the truth. Verified, checked and cross-checked. We rely on sources and verified ones. After all, that's what separates a journalist from a loudspeaker. But sometimes even we miss a beat, and when we do, we will tell you. Like yesterday, we ran visuals from a registered news agency. That visual turned out to be fake, so we are taking accountability. And from now on, we will cite the source of every visual, every picture, every video that you see on Firstpost will have a source mentioned. That is our commitment to you. We will wait, we will verify, we will ask again, and only then will we tell you. No noise, no panic, just the facts. Because right now, that is what the country needs most.